Shit 90 Shows Taught Me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.
Are you ready to slay another day? So are we. Welcome back to Shit 90 Shows Taught Me. I'm Jess Sterling here with my co-host, Sara Fergenson. Sarah, how are you?
Jess, who do you think is more menacing, the Muffin Man or the Gingerbread Man?
I think the Muffin Man. Like the
Mm.
Gingerbread Man is a little more brittle. So like if
Yes.
you needed to make a move, I think you could.
And then the witch from Hansel and Gretel, she goes in there, right? She's
goes-
scary too. She's
All
part of
witches
the
are
mix.
scary, I think.
Oh, that's a
Like,
little
because they have the power.
Yes,
know?
the
But-
power.
Yeah, the power.
Make you into a rat.
Exactly. Yes.
Or make yourself into a rat.
Yeah. Yes. Well, very much like polymorph
Amy.
yourself
Yes.
into an animal to scurry away. Now the episode title of season 3, episode 11, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, makes so much more sense.
That's it.
Last week we were like, why? We just did a Christmas episode. Why is this episode called Gingerbread? But now we know Hansel and Gretel are here.
Okay, I gotta be honest. I still don't understand how Hansel and Gretel like made it into this whole thing. Like, I thought that like I was understanding what was happening in this episode, and then they
Yeah.
were like, "Yes, it's the fairy tale Hansel and Gretel." I'm like, "Wait, what? Like,
Yeah.
what? Like, why couldn't it just be like ghost children?" Like, I didn't understand. And once
Well,
again,
because they're saying like, oh, because folklore, fairy tales, blah blah blah, all
Uh-huh.
of that is based on real shit. And in this
Mhm.
case, it's Hans and Greta are like real kids who keep faking their death because they want to kill witches, aka women.
Got it. Yeah, I never understand what the fuck is happening in this show, honestly. But I'm here for the ride. I'm like, yes, I like it. I understand. Yes, thank you. And I liked pretty much everything else except like I think that if I just rewrote in my head as like ghost children that just like to lure people, I'm like,
Well,
yeah.
this show loves a ghost child.
Oh
like,
yeah.
This is what like our third time that we've seen ghost children.
Yes. Yes.
Like,
But
so
this
many
wasn't
times.
this is not a ghost child. This is a demon that makes themselves into two little ghost children. Ghost
Yeah.
child plus ghost child equals demon. That is Buffy math.
Yes, yeah. And we got a big spike in visibility for Joyce this episode. We met Willow's mom, Sheila.
Oh,
She's
that was
new this episode.
That was exciting. Yes. Yeah.
I was really excited, especially because after last time when we were talking about like, oh, are we ever going to meet Xander's parents? You know, like I feel like we never get to really meet the other Scooby's parents. We got to meet Willow's mom at least this episode.
Yes.
Don't like her very much, but we'll get into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, what did you think, broad strokes, Sarah? What did you think of this episode?
It was good, I think. Like I really liked the twist of the first fake out twist of Amy and Willow being behind the magic. And I thought that was like really cool. Like when they were at the seance or like the witchy thing, and it was
The
like
coven, right? I think
'cause in
that's their
my-
coven.
Yeah, their coven. I was like, oh, like I felt like Amy was like going to probably be behind this. And then when the camera pans to Willow being the center, I was like, oh shit, like what the frick is happening? Like, is this bad Willow? And ultimately they were being framed, right? Like, or something along those lines.
Yeah,
the symbol was a protection spell. Right.
So basically what was happening was Willow, Amy, and Goth Kid, whose name I don't know, were in like their own little coven. That was a symbol that like Willow had come up with, I think, and it was supposed to be like a protection spell because Buffy's birthday was coming up. Now, the children / demon, basically that Hansel and Gretel turn out to be, used that symbol to make it seem like it was witches doing the murdering of the children. And so basically to get people to rise up against them and burn them at the stake. I never really thought Willow was bad. I thought that Willow had been like duped and that Amy was the bad one. And let me just say, Sarah, I am so dense because we've met Amy a couple of times at this point. Originally, the whole cheerleader thing with the witch and the trophy and that whole situation. Did not recognize her at all. And
Yeah.
the show even was trying. The show was like, you dumb idiots. This is the same girl, but with a different hair color, because they literally say, oh, Amy, you changed your hair.
Yeah.
I did not recognize her. It took me
Wow.
until most of the episode to be like, oh, that's who that is.
Freaking dumb hoe. The show does something really interesting when they're bringing back characters that haven't been around for a while, because this is the second time that I've noticed they've done this. Because last episode they name dropped Amy. They were like, oh, like Amy said that Cordelia was coming to school today or something along those lines. And that kind of plants like a little seed in my head and like the audience's head of like, oh, this character is still in the mix and we should expect to see them back in 78 business days. So when I saw Amy, I put together, I knew that was Amy because yes, her hair is brown, but it's this, I'm pretty positive it's the same actress.
Oh, it's definitely the same actress. I just like, for some reason, her hair was so different, and it was also shorter, and I think it completely threw me off. Because especially when she's sitting at, and this is why I thought that she was behind things, because she's randomly sitting at the lunch table with them, and I'm like, uh-oh, new girl, like she's bad, you know? But yeah, it turns out that no, not at all. She is a witch, which we had already previously established.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is so fascinating where like we start this episode, a lot of Joyce stuff where like Joyce wants to like accompany Buffy while she's slaying, which seems dangerous, but sure.
I thought that was kind of cute. It's kind of like bring your parent to work day. Did you ever go with your parents to their job for bring your child to work day?
Definitely my mom.
Yeah.
My dad was like an independent contractor, so like not really a place you want kids running around. So rarely would I like go places with him, but I would go to my mom's work. Like I remember a lot of times I went there, and I remember she would give me a job of, they had these like, they're not real checks, like they were like receipts of checks sort of thing, and I had to like put them in order, like numeric order, and like she would make me do that. And then I remember they had a typewriter in their office, and I loved that typewriter. Like this was before, I mean, you know, this was like the 90s, so it was quite a while ago. But yeah, like I definitely went into work with my mom at times. So about you?
Yeah, I did as well. I remember like going to work with my mom for bring your child to work day, cubicle life. And then I definitely went with my dad. I don't think it was like a bring your child to work day. I think that I just like went to, and it was like to the Yankee games. So yeah. So I thought that this was kind of cute that Joyce was like, I want to see like what you do and like let me like shadow you. And then of course Buffy's like, you are literally just going to get in the way. But I did also think it was really cute when she was like rooting Buffy on, like, go Buffy, like punch that guy. And then it was even funnier when she was just like, oh, that's so-and-so from the bank. Like,
that cracked me up. That comment of her just saying like this person from the bank really did crack me up. But it also felt like extremely distracting for multiple reasons. Like one being she's shouting things while Buffy is like trying to slay, but also if I'm Buffy, I'm like nervous that my mom is going to get inadvertently hurt in this encounter. And so, yeah, like it goes from bad to worse when Joyce happens upon two like bodies of dead children, and she is like aghast. She can't believe it. And I was still bought into this, Sarah. There was no sneaking suspicion on my part that anything was wrong right away. I was like, yeah, of course she's going to be disturbed. Like, these are children. Of course she's going to be really upset about this. So nothing along those lines was weird. Once Joyce showed up to Buffy's school, I was like, this is a little weird, but like, sure, Joyce, I guess you need a hobby. Like, why not be like, you know, trying to be your own detective, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, Joyce is a little weird. And I don't put it past Joyce to go to school because it seems as though she doesn't have enough time because of the gallery to spend time with Buffy, but she has plenty of time to leave the gallery to go into meetings with Principal Snyder. So funny how that works out, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that I don't think that like any alarm bells were going off about her showing up to school. She seemed really disturbed. She really wanted to kind of like figure this out. And I don't know. I wasn't like too suspicious as of yet. I think it was just like the point of like, hey, we have to get this figured out. This is fucked. Like, it's one thing to kill a bunch of teenagers, it's another to kill kids. Like, we need those kids to become teenagers so that those are the kids that become dead teenagers.
Well, that and I wasn't like, again, the alarm bells weren't immediately ringing because Buffy too is really upset at their like the kids being dead. She's like, what is going on? Like, who did this? Find out. And Giles, like, what does this symbol mean? Because there was a symbol left on the kids' hands of like a triangle with a mustache is what I was calling it because that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And so she's like, find out like what this symbol belongs to, like who is this scary monster? I'm gonna go defeat them. So she's really upset too. And then Joyce is like, "Oh, I spread the word about the murder. We're going to have a vigil." And I'm like, "What the is going on with I'm like, now Joyce is like PTA mom, you know? Like she's like all in suddenly, but like, okay?
Call it my dream to be the PTA mom.
Nightmare for me.
My
Absolute
it is
nightmare.
literally my dream. I would love to be PTA president.
I remember watching like there's this YouTube I really like, and she has like a kid who is kind of just starting to go to school, and she was saying that like suddenly when you have kids, you have to go through that like socially awkward stuff all over again because your kid's involved in like activities in school and like all these other things, and so you have to go to like a children's birthday party and interact with other parents, and like it's so difficult. It brings you right back to like that time when you're a kid and it's really awkward for you. I know you would like, never have that problem.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to thrive, to be honest with you.
I mean, you know your mailman's name and you know where your dentist lives. So where your hairdresser lives. Sorry, you know your dentist's birthday and you know where your hairdresser. You thrive on these social situations. I would hate this.
I saw my dentist today. Yeah, she's doing great.
I'm so happy for her.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, she's putting up her tree. So she's doing really well.
Do you know the color, the color way of her tree? Like what?
Oh no, she said that she said that what is in this year is traditional Christmas colors. So she's going with red and green this year. So yeah. Yep. Wow. I do. And she's going to the antique store in Kentucky with her sister this weekend because she wants to get pizza furniture.
All the way to Kentucky.
It's only like a couple states away. Yeah.
Oh, right. I'm thinking New York. I'm like, that's a really far drive. I'm an idiot. Anyway. So then we have this vigil, right? And she is like, okay, we're holding this vigil. And this is where I was like really starting to get weirded out because as soon as I saw these signs at a vigil, I'm like, why are people? I thought people were protesting, Sarah, because they're very much like signs on sticks. And I was like, what is going on? Like, why are all these like protesters at a vigil for children? Like,
it's just
what is
moo.
happening?
It's moo.
It's moo. The acronym moo. Mothers opposed to the occult.
I mean, yes, it is raging out there, those occults. It is terrible. I was somewhere this weekend and I like on Black Friday and like I passed like a magic shop, but guess what? They were closed on Black Friday, so I couldn't go in.
Oh, it's too bad it wasn't Friday the 13th. And then they definitely would have had to be open.
The occult is closed for Thanksgiving.
They like holidays too.
Yeah, that's what I gathered.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Joyce is involved. She's getting all the other parents involved because enough is enough. And I thought that this was really good because we have the mayor and the mayor's like, oh, we have a wonderful town and like bad stuff happens, but doesn't represent us. And then he calls up Joyce. And I was like very in on this argument. She's like, because I've been saying this for a while.
Yeah.
This is not a nice town.
We
This is
are on
not-
a hellmouth.
We are on a hellmouth. It's not a safe place to be. There are dying kids everywhere and it won't stop. And I was like very much like backing up Joyce in this. I was like, you're right. Like everybody needs to move out of here. It's not safe. It's really, really not safe. So she's like, enough is enough. And number one, we have to stop those witchy bitches. Because
that, and she was
Yeah.
also like speaking out against Slayers, and you get
yeah,
like
that was weird.
Buffy and Willow and Giles, like all of them kind of making eyes at each other, like, what the heck? Like, what's wrong with Joyce? Like, what is going on? Because, Sarah, I had noticed too that earlier in the episode when Joyce was visiting the school and visiting like in the cafeteria with Buffy, she was like, could it be witches? And so I'm like, oh shit, did like Joyce unintentionally spread a rumor? But no, then she speaks out against witches, and you have like Willow in the background going like, oh, like cringing so hard about this whole thing. And so it's just, yeah, it's like all of a sudden Joyce takes over the microphone and is like, no, Mayor, you're wrong. We need to kill all these monsters, and Sunnydale it's ruining our Sunnydale, and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden now we have mothers opposed to the occult, and they're like running rampant, and basically they're protesting this whole situation. They're like getting lockers inspected. Everyone is against the goth kids who they think are all witches and part of the occult.
They're not witches. They're just bad.
That I felt bad for the one boy who is like, is he even really? I guess he was a witch because he was a part of Willow's coven. But he's just getting beat up on because he's goth.
I mean, yeah, like the goth kids definitely. I don't know. Actually, the goth kids in my school were like kind of cool. So I don't really think
really?
that- yeah, because like they were like skater adjacent, right? So like they were cool. They were just like cool skater kids that like smoked pot and were like kind of goth.
Interesting. In my school, it was like the athletes / smart kids that were like cool. It was like the combo of if you were athletic and also in advanced classes, then you were like cool.
They weren't the coolest. They just weren't like beat up all the time. They were the ones.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't say goth kids were beat up at all in my, because I think the difference is though, Sarah, I think that when we were in like high school age, by that point being goth was a little bit more mainstream and more cool. Like people would wear those like black pants that are huge and baggy with the chains on them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it was just what was in style.
Exactly. And so like now we have lockers being searched, and Principal Snyder is freaking loving this. Like he is like creaming his pants with excitement. He loves this. They're looking for like anything that is proof of someone being witchy. So like Amy's getting called into the principal's office. Goth Boy is getting called into the principal's office. And Willow is freaking out because she knows that she's going to have some stuff in there that's going to get her called to the principal's office. And Buffy sees that Willow has the triangle with the mustache written like in one of her notebooks. And she's like, oh my gosh, like what's going on, Willow? And I thought it was interesting, Sarah, that Willow is like pleading with Buffy. I'm like, does she need to beg this hard? I feel like Buffy should just trust that Willow isn't the one killing children.
I don't know. I think that there's so many times where people get like mind manipulated that can we really trust anybody? Because even if she's not doing it intentionally and she's not evil, what are the odds that she got like manipulated by Amy, or like, you know, her brain got scrambled and she's doing somebody else's bidding? Like I feel as though really anything is possible for our little people, our girlies.
Yeah, I guess so. It just like, I feel like if you're a Scooby, you should have at least the benefit of the doubt that you're not murdering children. Especially when Willow says she's the one who came up with the symbol. Like she's the one who kind of started the coven and was doing the protection spell. Also, Willow, could we not have come up with a better symbol than a triangle with a mustache? Like, girl, like, what are you doing? Come on now.
It's just art, babe. You just don't know.
That's
don't-
art.
It's art, babe.
If you were to have a coven, what would your
Yeah.
symbol be?
Probably like a cluster of stars.
Oh, okay. Very like constellation-y.
Yeah.
I think mine would either have like a lot of squiggly lines because I really like a squiggle.
Mhm.
But I also think it would be like maybe a throwback to like, do you remember those S's we used to draw where you do
Yes,
three
of
lines, and
course.
something like that would be fun. So yeah, so then everyone's getting like called to the principal's office, and Willow is telling Buffy like, no, it was for your birthday, like everything is fine. And this is when Buffy finds out that like, yeah, it's Joyce doing all of this. And what's worse is that they need Giles's books to be able to research the symbol, and they're all getting confiscated as well.
This is just terrible. I hate it when we ban books. Let's not ban books.
I thought this episode was pretty funny considering how relevant it is to today's world. Like, right? Like, and we'll talk about it as we get to like the burning of the witches and all of that stuff. But like, my gosh, this has been going on for hundreds of years. Like, this is nothing new.
The burning of the witches, the calling people, communists or witches, the witch hunt that
they're all bad girls, quote unquote.
Yeah. I mean, now we have like canceling people, which sometimes people deserve it. Sometimes we're just like leaning into cancel culture for the fun of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so Joyce's mom is like at the head of this Moo organization. And she's like, well, you can't see Willow anymore. She is witchy. She's bad. And Buffy is just like, what are you talking about? Like, Willow is a good person. Like, this isn't, you're wrong. And as they're arguing and Buffy leaves, we see the creepy ghost children being like, oh, you have to hurt the bad girls.
Yeah, this was crazy. This was creepy. Then I was like, oh no. I was like, the ghost children. They were like, now I caught on because I'm stupid as fuck. I was like, oh, I understand now. They're I don't know, hypnotizing. What do they do? Mind controlling? See, more mind scrambles. See, I
think it's like mind scrambles. And it's like, and so apparently the reason behind this is because they love to watch humans just like basically form a revolution and like burn people at the stake.
Yeah, they like to see the humans eating each other alive.
Let chaos reign. Yeah. Now, can we talk about Willow's mom? Because
yes, please.
What did you think of Willow? Like, were you surprised that this personality, this type of person was Willow's mom?
Not really. I mean, like, so for me, how I interpreted this was that Willow's mom, and I don't know if this is confirmed before that or what, she's a therapist and she has like overly therapized her daughter, and everything is very like, oh, like you are doing this because this is a milestone at this age. And it's like sometimes I hear like when there's like a child of a therapist or a psychologist, or like they kind of like lose their like identity a little bit because like they're being told like you're feeling this way because of this. Like they're not allowed to like express their own feelings because they're being like told why they're feeling certain ways. So that's kind of like how I interpreted it, as well as just like general, like her mom just like didn't really is not involved. Like she didn't notice that like her hair was cut. She obviously doesn't know who her friends are. She doesn't know what she's into. So what was your initial like thoughts on what was her name?
Sheila.
Yeah, Sheila.
Yeah, I already went in with a bit of negativity because before we even meet her, Willow is saying like, "Oh my gosh, Joyce is so involved in like Buffy's life. Like my mom doesn't take an interest in anything I'm up to.
But she's not. Like, Joyce is kind of, but, like, also
Just
I
this
guess
one time she is, like, the rest of the time she's not, but I really think it was just Willow setting us up for, like, what her relationship with her mom is like, and yeah, like, it's so clinical, and it feels like her
Yeah.
mom is constantly trying to, like, diagnose her or just lump her in with, like, "Oh, you're just like every teen, like, every
Yeah.
teen gets into fads, and this time it's witchy stuff," and so it's just uncomfortable because it's obvious that her mom doesn't really know her at all and is
Yeah.
completely uninvolved in her life, but feels like empowered to say all of these things about Willow because she's just like every other teenager because, oh, I know everything about teenagers because I've researched them. And so it feels, I don't know if like I've seen The Big Bang Theory. I don't know if other people have, but like Leonard's mother is very much like this as well.
Oh,
Like where
really?
she's like a psychologist or she has like a PhD and all these other things. Like she just feels like I know teenagers and this is what you're doing and this is why you're doing it instead of having a conversation with her daughter. It didn't surprise me that Willow's mom was intelligent or that she was like she had a job like what she has because Willow is very academically minded. So for her mom to be in like a position where she had to do a lot of higher education didn't surprise me. But yeah, it kind of stunk that like this is what Willow's home life is like. I wish we would have gotten to meet Willow's dad. I hope we do at some point. And I hope he's a little bit more warm and fuzzy. I feel like Willow is very warm and fuzzy, so I'd expect at least one of her parents to be a bit more
I don't
empathetic or sensitive.
I think that sometimes you mistake Allison Hannigan and like make her think that she's characters from like How I Met Your Mother because like I don't know. Like I think that you're just like, "Oh yes, this is Allison Hannigan and she is warm and fuzzy." Like I at times like don't really see that about Willow. Like I
But do
think
you
that
think she's clinical?
I think that I don't know if I don't think clinical is the right word. I just think that she it's just like not as like like a girl next door as you would
Mm,
think that she is. I think that
interesting.
she is a little bit more self-interested than a typical Allison Hannigan character.
Yeah. Hmm. I'm trying to think of like situations where people are in trouble, but I feel like Buffy is usually the one who gets to be like play hero, a lot of the
Mhm.
time. Um yeah, I'm just interested to see the other side, to see Willow's father because okay, let's face it. Willow's mom obviously isn't home very much. Like she's very busy. What's the deal with Willow's dad? Like is he home or is it more like a latchkey kid situation? Like I'm really interested in that aspect because I felt awful for Willow in these scenes with her mom where her mom is just very obviously just like never listening and Willow feels like a child in certain moments when she's like almost like trying to get attention, right? Like, come fill me with your black, naughty, evil Beelzebub, like it's very childish, but in a way that I understand. Like, she's trying to prove to her mom, like, you're wrong. I am into witchy stuff. Like, I can
Mhm.
do magic and you're not listening to me.
I think that like calling her a latchkey kid is pretty like astute. Like I think that that's what I see it as. I think both of her parents are working and she was just one of those kids that like went home after school and kind of just like had to do her homework on her own and pay attention to herself. I believe she's an only child, so it's not
I
like we
think so.
have like any sort of um like a sibling complex. So I think that they just like
Mhm.
were focused on their careers and maybe each other and like maybe they had like a kid because that's what you're
That's what you
expected to
do.
do. That's what you do, but they
It
weren't
also
really wanting to be parents.
It also makes a lot more sense to me that Willow is so academically minded and that her grades are so important to her
Mhm.
because if all we have is her mom to go off of and her mom obviously puts a great deal of stock and pride in good grades, that's the only way Willow feels like she can get attention is if she gets good grades, right? So like that completely tracks. Yeah, it's so interesting. Cuz she often feels like a kid who doesn't ever want to do anything wrong. Like this also tracks too, right? Like especially an only child to feel like very like in tune with authority, right? Like if you're usually only children tend to hang out with adults a lot more than other kids. This is very much back in the day, not necessarily now. I feel like there's a lot more socialization that is attempted to be done with kids than back in the day. But I feel like if she's hanging out with adults a lot, then she would be more like, oh, I don't want to be in trouble, like I want them to approve of me. So yeah, it just hurt my heart a little bit for Willow that like her mom was so dismissive of her in this episode. Like, and I don't think we can blame all of it on Moo, maybe some of it.
No, I don't think it's Moo's fault at all. I think that like her mom's very susceptible to be like buying into this shit. And yeah, I thought that was also very funny that I don't know, she like didn't even know Buffy's name. Like she was just like Bunny Summers. Like it's just like very much like I am going to like pretend like I know what's going on in your life, but I really don't. And then as soon as like it kind of is an inconvenience to me, then I automatically care. But only because it's like hindering my life.
Yeah,
like,
and it's embarrassing me and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. So Willow gets grounded, which sucks because Willow is a lot of times the brains. Like she's one of the best researchers that the Scoobies have at their disposal. And now without Giles's books too, like they're really in a bit of a pinch. And so they're like, okay, they're at the library, they're trying to do research and stuff. And Angel is actually the one that mentions it. And I did have this thought, Sarah, but it was so fleeting that I didn't really latch onto it of like, whose kids even are these? Like, what are their names? Like, none of the signs even said their names. Joyce never mentions their names when she's doing this whole speech at City Hall.
Yeah, irrelevant because kids in Sunnydale don't need names until they're at least 12 years old because they're probably not going to survive. So we don't need to name them. It doesn't matter.
It's so dark. I think aren't there like, what are they called? Like post-apocalyptic books where it's like, oh yeah, we don't name our kids until they're at least a year old because they might not make it.
Exactly. It's just boy. That's the name. Boy and girl.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you name them. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah. And so Buffy is like, this is interesting. And so then they start doing their research and they like figure out a way to talk to Willow over the internet. And they realize that like every 50 years, there's like these same two kids keep dying. And there's like always this like revolution in those towns where they find witches and burn them at the stake. And they bring up Hansel and Gretel because it's like, oh, yes, it's a fairy tale basically come to life.
This is fun. Isn't this fun?
What fairy? I like when they do like a twist on a fairy tale. I think it's fun because in the fairy tale Hansel and Gretel, it's the witch that's evil, right? Like she lures the children to her gingerbread house and then fattens them up and cooks them and eats them or something, right?
I was just saying, isn't it fun that kids can come back to life and then terrorize everybody every 50 years? I think that's so fun. These kids, they're just like
silly little kids.
Yeah, they're in it for the lulz, really.
Yeah. They thrive on this sort of chaos.
Were you a Once Upon a Time girl?
I watched a little bit of it and then fell off. Did you watch it?
I watched a little bit of it, but then I fell off.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Same story.
I think Hansel and Gretel were in it, weren't they?
I would put money on it that they were. Yeah.
Yeah. So Joyce is like full on head of Moo, which I appreciated Buffy making fun of the name the whole episode. We needed that.
It's kind of a bad name.
It's a dumb name. And they're trying to talk to Joyce, Buffy and Giles are, but they whack Giles in the head and chloroform Buffy. Where the fuck did Joyce get chloroform? Is chloroform easily accessible?
I literally can't Google it, so I don't know.
Should I go in incognito mode and look it up?
Sure, I guess. I feel like they
How
can. I feel
sus-
like the police can still find you.
they can find it incognito mode.
I would assume
Well,
so.
I'm not going to do it then. I'm not going to Google it, but I want to
Maybe
know.
hold on. Maybe we should ask Chat GBT.
You don't think the cops can look at Chat GPT?
Be like, no, it's just AI.
I just want to know. Maybe we can ask if there are like doctors or medical professionals that listen to this podcast. Can you please let us know how easy is it to obtain chloroform?
You know
I
what?
feel like anytime I watch movies or television, people have chloroform like nobody's business.
No, yeah, I know. I was just about to say, like, I've seen a billion times where, like, oh, I'm a person and like I'm going to a hospital and let me go to the hospital storage room and oh, here's a bottle that says just chloroform. Nailed it. Maybe
Yeah.
I think that you have to make it. Okay, I think it's like
You have to
bleach,
make it?
bleach plus like hydrogen peroxide plus like unicorn tears, something like that.
Perfect. Well, there is a witchy store in town. Oh no, it got like burned down.
It's closed on Black Friday.
It's closed on Black Friday. They can't get the chloroform.
Can't get it.
But yeah, everyone always has chloroform, and so they knock them all out. And we see Willow, Buffy, and Amy all tied to posts on top of books that were
Oh.
Giles's precious, precious books,
Terrible.
and they're about
Boring.
to burn all of them.
Those boring, dusty, crusty books are about to get burned the fuck up. Horrible
Yeah.
news.
Yeah. I just thought this was funny. Like the timing of this episode in terms of like the burning of the books, the burning of the women, like all of it just
Mhm.
felt so relevant. Actually, I'm pretty sure the day after the election, or at least it was the week of the election, I was just like, you know how sometimes retail therapy just cures all your wounds? And I was like, I'm pissed. Like, I need to do something. And I bought a sweatshirt. And I should have been wearing it today because it honestly is like so perfect for this episode of Buffy. But it on the back, it has like these moons and these hands, and it says, they didn't burn witches, they burned women. And like I just love it so much, and it just felt so appropriate for like this episode of like, yeah, they weren't, I mean, and they are like, well, Buffy is
Yeah, I mean,
The other
they
two
are
are
witches.
witches.
They're witches, and one of them's
they're
a
not
slayer.
evil.
I don't know. Did you yeah, I mean, like the burning at the stake, it was like very interesting to see. And like I like how like Buffy was like, Mom, like you're not gonna do this. And she's like, I have to. You are evil, you are Slayer. Oh, wait, we didn't even talk about like the best line in the entire show.
Yes,
When
please.
Joyce was literally like, Buffy, I know you're the Slayer and you're doing good shit, but have you made a difference? Have you done anything? Are there less vampires? And I was like, oh, Joyce, you be a freaking bitch, but you're right. Like
She's
it's
making
not,
points.
it's
Well,
not
because
getting
truly,
better.
there's still a shit ton of vampires around here. So, like, what
Yeah.
are we doing? It feels like she's putting band-aids on bullet holes at this point.
Yes. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. Joyce might be a bitch, but I mean, it's not getting better.
Where's
It's
the
getting
lie?
it might be getting worse.
And here's the thing, Sarah. We've doubled the amount of Slayers we have in town.
Yes. Yeah. And you would think that that would like reduce it by half, but it has increased it. By
Where's
half.
Faith? What's Faith doing? What's Faith been up to? Why the fuck isn't she out and slaying? Like, if they wanted to do a mother-daughter day, where the fuck is Faith?
Faith is busy. You know what? Like Faith is only a part-time Slayer, so she gets like part-time work.
It's brutal. But yeah, Joyce is coming in with the hot, spicy tea, and they're about to burn these poor girls at the stake, and they're all of a sudden all the books are burning. And Amy, being the sassy little witch that she is, turns herself into a rat and scurries on out of there.
Yeah, come on, Amy. Be a girl's girl, Amy. Like, help our friends out. Although it's probably for the best because the stupid ass doesn't know how to fix it. She can't undo it. What a dummy. What a stupid whore.
Yeah, I don't know what else Amy could have done, right? Like, because we've seen in other sorts of witchy media, witches don't burn at the stake. Like it like tickles them, like it doesn't kill them. But in this, it seems like no, Willow could have died.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that they could have died. I'm like, I don't really know about the witches and
Mm-hmm.
what their shit is, but I don't know. Like, I think that, like, I think it's great that she turned herself into a rat and was able to escape, but then you had to, like, undo it. Maybe she just figured that Willow was going to figure it out.
Or
But
Goth Boy, yeah.
yeah, but it seems as though it is a unbreakable spell. So is Amy a rat forever?
I think they'll unrat her at some point.
Willow just has to get more powerful. The thing is that Amy's a real witch and Willow is not.
Yeah, the way I look at it is Amy is akin to in Dungeons and Dragons a sorcerer, where she is like born with innate magical powers, and Willow is much more of your wizard type who has learned witchcraft.
Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, we've talked about this so many times. I
Mhm.
like an Amy witch. I need you to be born into this stuff, you know? But I don't like that like any old bitch can go off the street and learn how to do magic. I don't appreciate it.
Mm, I think I disagree. I think I like that there's different ways you can obtain magic, and one is by just perseverance.
But then like I feel like Amy should be more powerful, which
And
she
she
is.
is. Yeah.
Yes.
She is. So, we also get our favorite dynamic duo. Sarah, you have to feel like when they had that one scene with Giles and Cordelia, people fucking loved it. And so
Yeah.
they were like, we gotta bring this back.
It was great, and it's really nice to have Cordelia be brought back into the mix. Like, my fear is that, like, she's not really gonna have a purpose, but it seems as though, although she hates it, Cordelia cannot stay away from being involved as a Scooby and, like, trying to fix the problems because she's right there with Giles and is, like, trying to fix the shit, and it really is Giles and Cordelia that like saved the day.
Yeah, I loved this because so Giles is trying to like practice this German incantation because what they want to do is prove to Moo that they aren't children, that this is a demon that is like disguised as children. And so their plan is, okay, we need to show its true form. Cordelia is working on some sort of concoction. And then we have the odd couple of Oz and Xander, who had the most awkward interaction at the beginning of the episode in the cafeteria line. Like, here's the thing. Just stop. Like, Xander is making it so awkward by being like, why would I know where Willow is? Blah, blah, blah. Like, he's like too much about it. And it's so supremely awkward between Oz and Xander. I'm like, if I'm them, I don't want to sit at the same lunch table. Like, because it's so awkward.
No, I know. But this is the thing. Like, this is what Oz signed up for by getting back together with Willow. Like, he knows that she's not going to stop being friends with him. He knows that like Buffy is best friends with Willow and is also very good friends with Xander. Like, he's signing up for this shit. It's like basically he's torturing himself because this is absolute hell. Like, I wouldn't want to hang out with like the same person that like my partner cheated on me with. Like, that's terrible. But I mean, he's kind of doing it to himself. And yeah, I agree. Like Xander is just like doing way too much as embarrassing himself. But like, I don't expect anything less from Xander because he's a freaking clown and a half.
Yeah.
Big clown.
Yeah. And I appreciated that, like, because Oz and Xander are very much trying to like save the day, right? They decide to go in through the air vents to hopefully try to save Buffy, Amy, and Willow. And I love that by the time they arrive, it's like, nope, the day has already been saved by Giles and Cordelia, who break into the room, and Cordelia uses a fire hose. This cracked me up. Cordelia with the fire hose was too much. If I'm Cordelia, Sarah, do you know what I'm doing? I feel like you know exactly what I would do because you have the petty mind that I have.
Spray Xander.
Xander wasn't even there yet. Xander was in the vents. No, I'm spraying Willow right in the face for making out with my boyfriend.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Willow.
Yeah, no, right in the face with the fire hose for sure. But Cordelia, they're like, put out the fire, Cordelia. I don't know. This part cracked me up for like no reason. But Giles is successful in casting the spell. And so it turns into this like nasty demon thing. The children turn into this big nasty demon. So all the parents are like, wait a minute, what's going on? And I don't know about you, Sarah, but like it was kind of cheesy, but it cracked me up when Buffy like leans down off the stake and like accidentally kind of impales the demon on the piece of wood.
It's so fucking cheesy, but that's very Buffy, right?
And she's like, did I do it?
Yeah, did I do? It's like she couldn't even see. So yeah, okay. Well, she did it. She killed the demon. I don't know. I mean, it's like it's so 90s cheesy. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like it was cute though, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, and so they save the day, and of course we get the next day they're trying to fix Amy, try to get her out of rat form. It's not really working, and they're like, yeah, our parents are like, they forgot everything because that's just the way things go in Sunnydale. Except Willow's mom remembered she's dating a musician.
Yeah, so but Joyce remembers stuff now. I think it's like a chosen thing because Sheila was like, I choose not to remember the shit that's going down.
And Sheila does seem like the type of bitch who can just compartmentalize that shit and then be like, nah, I don't need to remember any of this.
She learned that in therapy. Yeah, of course.
Yes. Also, Loki loved Joyce and Giles bumping into each other and being like, oh yeah, we haven't seen each other since I fucked you.
Just fuck already. Like
they've already fucked for sure. They fucked.
I know. Do it again. I think
in the stacks.
Those two might be endgame.
I hope not.
Though they might.
I want better for Giles.
Joyce is fine.
Is she though?
She's fine. Like that's
she's the head of Moo, and we hate Moo.
She literally was mind melded by two little ghost children demons.
She generally sucks anyway.
Well, she's trying.
I did like her trying to do like a mom goes to work with her daughter type situation. That was cute. I brought you snacks, honey.
She's so nice to Faith.
Okay, she's nicer to Faith than she is her own daughter.
I don't think that's true. I just think it's like we see these things through Buffy's eyes and we're like, oh, she stinks because she's a mom. Like she's mom, not a mom, just mom.
She just stinks, but
I don't know.
But then again, I've been accused of just hating people to hate them, which sometimes is true.
Why do you have so much hate in your heart?
I have love for characters I like, but Joyce has just done nothing to prove that she's a good character or a good mom. The most I've ever liked Joyce was when she was with Ripper and they were being teenagers. That was the best Joyce.
That was fun.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else about this episode? We talked about the Oz and Xander stuff that was super awkward. So we know we're now a year out. Is this a year from Buffy's surprise birthday party, right? Was that last season? Yeah, it was.
Okay, so it's almost Buffy's birthday again. It's almost January. We know that Buffy's a Capricorn.
Exactly.
And it was almost Christmas. Duh.
And that makes sense. Well, no, It just was Christmas. Yeah. So this all makes sense because we're a year from Surprise, which was last season's Buffy birthday party.
Oh, man, that was such a good episode because that was the episode where Drew was like, the flowers are all wrong.
I miss Drew Lulu. Can I tell you, I am enjoying season 3. I'm not hating on season 3 whatsoever. I think in terms of Monster of the Week, season 3 has been stronger on the Monster of the Week stuff, but I really miss Drew Lulu and I miss Angelus. Like Angel is so blah without him being like spicy bad boy.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, I think it's like now that we're halfway through the season, I think it's like not a question. I enjoyed season 2 better.
But I think we're about to get into some good stuff. At least I think. That's
what everybody's been saying for like every episode. Like, oh, we're getting there. It's happening. It's this week. Like now you're getting into the good stuff. It's like, where is the good stuff? You are like literally edging me. Where's the good stuff?
It's on the way, apparently.
Evidently, it's coming. I've heard it's coming any week now. It's a here.
All right. Well, we are midway through season 3, and you know what that means. It is time for us to do some ranking. So we are going to rank, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 characters. Sarah, would you like me to go first, or do you want to go first? Are you counting yours to make sure you also
I'm
have
just
9?
making sure I have everybody.
Okay.
I was like, because I remember counting 8, so I was like,
Yeah.
I could go first.
Okay. Why don't you go bottom to top?
Bottom to top. Bottom, Angel. He's a wet blanket and he does yoga and he's stuck in his wheelchair. He's so boring. He needed to spin off and have a good time. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even mind him last season when he was Angel and he was just doing like the weepy stuff. I really liked Angel when he was Mysterious Angel. Like, give me something interesting. Like, give me Nothing King, right? Like, I liked that. But this version of Angel, season 3 Angel, is just, he's such a wet blanket. And all he does is his Tai Chi. And I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling the romance between him and Buffy. I'm just bored with him. Next up, I have Oz. I just feel like he's just like a nothing to me. Like, I don't know. Like, I really feel like I just feel like he's nothing to me. Like, I'm not like super excited to see him on my screen. Like, I feel like he's just going to get like very like weepy baby bitch in the next coming episodes. I'm just kind of like over him too. Next up, I have Joyce. Joyce, I feel like, you know what? Joyce might be on the up and up. I'm not going to lie. Like, I feel like Joyce is like having some really funny moments. She's having really fun lines. I think that the stuff with like the Ripper was like very fun. I'm like very interested in her sexual chemistry with Giles. I think it's like so like spicy and scandalous, and I feel like it's just going to develop, and I feel like Joyce has upside. I might have even put Joyce like ahead of Xander because I have Xander next, and I feel like he's just not like our greatest problem anymore. Like, he was a big deal in yesteryear, but like I just feel like he's just there and he doesn't cause me strife, Jessica. My heart is so clear of hate, and this muddlement mud that you have is absolutely disgusting. The pond schmuck that you have for this poor guy. It's not schmuck. Smug. Gook. I don't know where I'm going with this, but next up I have Willow. Willow dropped for me because she is a cheating skanky whore, and I don't like that. I
love how Willow is a cheating skanky whore, but Xander is like, I have no hate in my heart for him.
Well, you know, like, I don't really like hate Willow. Like, I like Willow. I like Willow as the character. I just think that she is bubbling on the cusp of greatness, and I just want to push her there, you know?
Okay.
Next up, I have Faith. I feel like she probably doesn't deserve this high of a spot, but I like her potential. And if I wasn't mad at Willow, then she would have been below Willow. But I still think she's a cheating skanky whore, even though I don't even like Oz that much. Okay, now I'm going to get into the characters I actually like, because I could probably say that I don't like any of those other people who I do like. Giles. I like Giles now.
He has risen in your rankings.
I think that he is good looking. I think that he has this edge. I think when he takes his glasses off, I want to fuck him. I think that he's great. A terrible watcher. I mean, honestly, nothing on merit, but a great character nonetheless. Love Ripper. I like Giles a lot, actually. Next up, I have Cordelia. I love Cordelia. She has all the best lines. She's just so fun. She really like makes me happy and excited when I see her on the TV. And I think that she has like a lot of good storylines and a lot of good character development. I think the Cordelia Giles pairing is a lot of fun. I think that does a lot for me. And my favorite character is still Buffy the Vampire Slayer because she's Buffy and a main character and a bad bitch. And she is the only one that will save us from the horrors of vampires, even though she could probably be doing more work. She's not doing a great job. She's doing a good job, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I just need to point out that this time last season, Giles was third from the bottom for you.
Yeah.
So he is really climbing.
Well, Giles is, he's going up, up, up. It's only up, baby. Because I think in my first season, I said Giles was my least favorite.
I think so. Yeah, that sounds right to me.
Now, I like I said, I can probably make an argument that the only 3 characters that I like on this TV show at times is Buffy, Giles, and Cordelia. The other ones could fuck off.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Starting at the bottom of my list, we all know who it is. Say it with me, class. Xander. I hate him. I hate him. I'm never gonna like him. I don't think. I'm open to it. I don't think it'll happen. I don't like him. Moving on. Joyce. Joyce sucks most of the time. The only time I've liked Joyce is when she was with Ripper as a teenager. Beyond that, Joyce is a killjoy, buzzkill, and just only wants to be a mom when it's convenient to her, and also just wants to like be mean most of the time. A little bit of credit for the mommy-daughter time this episode, but not very much. Angel is next on my list, and the reason is I'm bored. Yeah. I'm bored of him. I'm so bored of him. Like, who cares? Who cares? He doesn't have a personality anymore. It's like when they gave him a soul, they stripped him of a personality. And it's like, well, if you told me I could have one or the other, take that soul away, baby. Like, give me personality because he's so boring. And like, I don't care about the Angel and Buffy schmoopiness. I just simply don't care. And also, I probably should even move him lower on my list because he straight up assaulted Buffy last episode. And I kind of forgot that when I was making this ranking. Like, I'm over it. I'm over Angel. Spin him the fuck off my TV screen, please.
Yeah.
Next on my list is Willow. That's right, Willow. Remember Willow, who used to be like my second favorite character?
Yeah. But is it because she's a skanky whore?
Mostly it's because I really am still upset with her for what she did to Oz. So I'm punishing her by putting her low on my list.
We do love a punishment. Yeah.
I do. She's been sentenced. And so here's the thing. I'm enjoying the witchy Willow stuff. Like, I'm going to give the show credit. Like, I love that they're leaning into that. I love that it wasn't a one episode and done storyline, you know? Like, it wasn't like Willow is witchy for one episode and then she forgot everything. No, she's actively studying and working hard to be a witch. I love that. Okay. I just think she makes piss poor decisions at times that like I can't agree with. Bringing it back to our podcast with Tom Palmer, where he talked about like her taking shortcuts. I don't like that. And I'm finding that like sometimes she does things in a way that really pisses me off. I really hate when someone is like, oh, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Bitch, you're hurting everyone's feelings by what you're doing. And that just ticks me off. So that's why Willow is where she is on my list. Next, we have Faith. I'm with you where like I could have put Faith above or below Willow. It's kind of tough. She hasn't really been around as much as I would like her to be. But when we do see her, I adore her. So that is the reason she makes it so high up on my list. Again, she could be higher if she was on the show more because of how fun she is when she's around. So love Faith, would love to see more of her. And if there's more of her, maybe she'll move up a little bit. Next, we have Oz. Sweet baby angel Oz. I love him. I love the Pez dispenser. I love how sweet he is. I would love to get more of like the werewolfy stuff. Like, I like that we got that he can smell Willow's fear, right? Like, I think those tiny tidbits are super interesting and I would like more of them. I think we could really get into like the psyche of Oz and how difficult it is that like his girlfriend is responsible for him while he's in werewolf form 3 days out of the month. That's fascinating. So I really love Oz. I just think he's like absolutely adorable and precious. So that's why he's fourth on my list. Next, I have Giles. Daddy Giles. The more Ripper, the better in terms of like finding out more of Giles' past. I find him to be absolutely fascinating. I think like he acts extremely well. I loved the scene when Angel comes in and he has a crossbow like held on him. Giles is incredible. I feel like he's having a really great season. I agree with you. He's not like the best watcher at all times, but like also now all his books are gone, so I don't know what he's gonna do. Like he's just gonna have nightmares forever.
Yeah,
because he misses his books.
Yeah, that is tough.
In second place, so if people were keeping track, they'll know I have 2 characters left, and they are the same top 2 you had. Buffy and Cordy are my top 2. Now, Buffy is second. Cordelia is my favorite character, and it is because I fucking love this boss ass bitch, okay? She handled that breakup like a fucking champ. She's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna say nasty things to you in the hall because you fucking suck and I don't like you. She wore her revenge outfit. I was here for it, okay?
Yeah.
I love Cordy was vulnerable when she was in the relationship. She did the whole before Xander, after Xander situation. Now she's a bad bitch and I'm here for it. And give her more scenes with Giles because they're my absolute favorite. Cordy, numero uno. Buffy, still incredible as a character, coming in second place. I really love Buffy. I think she's great, but I just love Cordy so much. So that's my current rankings, Sarah.
I like it. I don't have any complaints really for you.
Thank you.
And I do love to complain to you and about you.
You really do. Yeah.
So I'm
Speaking of complaints, we did get an email from Justin.
Well, okay, yeah, a lot of people are mad at you, which as long as it's not on my back, baby, I'm good with that. I'm good. I could
take it. This is about the last podcast, of course, amends. So Justin says, "Okay, the Xander slander brings me back again. First off, let me say thank you, Sarah, for defending him."
You're welcome.
They do say in the episode that Xander sleeps outside every year to avoid his family's drunken arguments. So yes, there are plenty of issues in his household. You actually will find out a bit more about Xander as the series goes on. Now, whether or not he was there to truly help Buffy, I've said before, he's the heart of the Scoobies. And this episode is one of the reasons why I say it. Whether he's truly there to help or not doesn't really matter. He's there. He's putting in the work. He's also the first one who shows up to help too. Then when they go out to hunt down the bringers, he's immediately there at the Harbingers aren't. Yeah. He's immediately there at the bar trying to help. When Buffy is questioning what they know and questioning everything, he immediately reassures her and is trying to uplift her. I know you hate Xander, Jess, but at times you have to take off the rose-colored glasses.
Will you?
No. I also don't think I agree, even without again, fully trying to be objective here. I don't think he's the heart of the Scoobies. I just don't see that.
That might be something that we won't see until the future.
That's true. Who would you say if you had to say now at this point in the show? Who do you think is
Buffy.
the heart?
Buffy.
I think so. That's exactly what I would have said. Yeah, Buffy is.
I can see a world where in the future the girlies are fighting and Xander's the one that has to bring them together, and that would make him the heart of the Scoobies.
I guess also if you wanted to say Xander's the most impressive because he's the one without powers, right? Buffy is a Slayer and now Willow's witchy. So he's the one risking his life because he has no powers. Sure, I guess. But Cordy doesn't have powers either. And neither does Giles, really. He's just smart.
Knowledge
is power, baby.
Knowledge is power.
So point taken, Justin, but I can't promise you to ever like Xander because I really don't like him.
Let go of the hate in your heart.
We also got an email from Joe who says, I've been traveling South America for a month. Oh my goodness, that sounds fun. But I'm back and think I am now caught up on Buffy, and I hear you guys. So no coverage of Angel? ? Don't let the name of the show and its title character color your idea of the show. It's every bit as good as Buffy. It does take a bit to get going, so don't let the pilot fake you out. While Buffy is about growing up as a teenager and a high school kid into an adult, Angel is about becoming an actual adult. Angel has some of the best character arcs of any show out there. To see some of the characters you see on any TV show out there, Sarah, you want relationship drama? Well, Angel has his real true love. true love with a good will they won't they.
But Buffy's not his real true love?
And apparently it also has a really great love triangle.
Okay.
So Joe wants to know, what can us, the fans, let you know to maybe convince you?
Full coverage, babe. I don't know.
I think the thing is like, I certainly don't see us doing it simultaneously while we're covering Buffy is the thing. So like either way, it would have to be after we covered Buffy, and I still don't see us doing episodic coverage. Like, I'm open to trying to watch Angel, don't get me wrong, but like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there is such this like love for Buffy, the show, that I've not heard about Angel. You know what I mean? Like, I know Angel's like a spinoff and everything, but I've never heard people be like, oh my God, Angel's incredible.
I just don't think that you're listening. Like, I think that these are the people that are saying that, oh my God.
No, I'm saying our listeners are, yes, but in the world, like, I've not heard this take in the world.
I don't know.
What can fans say for us to want to watch Angel?
Okay, I mean, like, I want to watch Angel. I don't know if I want to do episodic coverage of Angel.
Yeah.
But what can they say? Well, I think that we have a voicemail about.
We do have a voicemail about watching Angel. So let's see if Michael can convince us to watch Angel.
Hey, Jess and Sarah, Michael here out in San Francisco. Huge fan of the pod and longtime Buffy fan. That's what drew me to your podcast originally. There's nothing I love more than introducing new people to Buffy. So hearing two uninitiated folks go through this journey, man, it is just peak podcasting for me. So just loving it. I wanted to quickly call in because you are now approaching a big decision point around what to do about Angel, the series. And I know that you don't want to be spoiled about when the events of Angel took place, so I'm not going to tell you. But what I will tell you is that the showrunners expected people to be watching both shows simultaneously, and they were kind of ruthless about punishing you if you didn't, to the extent that, you know, there are crossovers, there are characters from one show who have a big arc on the other, there are events of one show that have outsized impacts on the other. And so I think it's going to be challenging to keep covering Buffy while not exposing yourself to any Angel. But if you don't want to watch all of Angel, and I think you would actually enjoy it much more than you might anticipate, because the ensemble cast is amazing. Much like Buffy, that really saves it a lot of the time. But if you don't want to watch all of it, or you just don't have the time, which, you know, understandable, I think you could have friends or fans. I'm certainly happy to help with this, curate for you sort of a list of the essential Angel episodes, the ones that from the perspective of a Buffy watcher are kind of impossible to not reckon with. Otherwise they're going to impact your Buffy watch. That could be one way to proceed. Obviously it'll spoil you for some of the events of Angel, but maybe you don't care about that. But I think, you know, that's just one possibility. No matter what you do, I'm sure it's going to be amazing because you guys are crushing it. Podcast is golden. Look forward to it every week. Absolutely love y'all. Thanks so much.
Does this intrigue you, Jessica?
It does. First of all, thank you so much, Michael, for the voicemail. We love getting voicemails.
Michael, what microphone do you use, sir? Because you sound very good.
Sounds so crispy.
Very crisp.
We love it.
Tell us your secrets.
Okay, so one, yes, this very much intrigues me, and I think it is helpful to know that, like, there's a ton of crossover in terms of, like, you know, these characters will show up here and then there, and then, like, we may get spoiled on Angel if we're not watching simultaneously. So here's where I'm leaning currently, because we don't know when Angel's going to spin off. Maybe it's this season, maybe it's next season, who the hell knows? But when and if it happens, I think right now my preference would be, first of all, I love an idea of a curated watch. I love a curated watch. And I think it has to be, I think we'd have to limit it. You know, I think we'd have to be like, give us your top X number of episodes or something. The other thing I think could be interesting, Sarah, is depending on if one or both of us checks out Angel when it's time, when it is spin-off time. If we like it, do we do a small segment on the Buffy podcast about what's going on in Angel Land? You know, I think that is a potential.
That is exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. So that's an option. Okay. So everyone can relax. All right. We'll at least watch the
Wait,
pilot
hold
of
on.
Angel.
Hold on. It's not nice to tell people to calm down.
Oh, true. I'm so sorry. I should never have done
We
that.
literally learned that from this episode.
Yeah. Don't tell people to calm down.
Don't do it.
But you don't need to, don't lose your minds over anything. Okay. We will.
Thing.
Okay. Well, what should I say then? It'll be okay.
Let peace be with you.
It's and also with you.
Everything is very chill.
Yeah. So we will do something of some sort, but I like these ideas from Michael. We love the crispiness of your microphone, Michael. Please send in more feedback because that was absolutely lovely to hear from you. Yeah, I like all of this. And it is good to have the knowledge. We appreciate the spoiler-free knowledge that people are giving us because it is like our listeners are the best because they never spoil us. And I feel like I've heard this show is so easily spoiled that I'm just very grateful.
Even Liam hasn't spoiled us. And I thought that was really nice of him as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely incredible. Okay. So if you want to send in your feedback, shitnuttiespod.com, shitnuttiespod@gmail.com, send us in an email, send us in a voicemail, send us in whatever you want. Find us at shit90spod. We're also on YouTube now. I probably should have said that at the top of the podcast, but we've announced it on like everything else. So find us on YouTube, youtube.com/@shit90spod is where you can find us. Look at our beautiful faces. Look at my cute little artwork back here. Oh, look at it, so cute. And yeah. Oh, next week, Sarah, should we reveal the title for next week's episode?
What is next week's episode title?
Season 3, episode 12, Helpless.
Ooh. Oh, you got
Hamilton
me
vibes.
helpless.
Yeah.
Your eyes and the sky's the limit.
I was just gonna let you keep going.
No, that's it.
I love Hamilton. Okay, so that'll be next week. In the meantime, find us at shit90spod everywhere. Sarah, would you like to plug anything? Got anything else going on?
Yes, you can find me at Whirlwind Podcasts doing some background stuff, but like support my friends. I was recently on talking about Schitt's Creek. And in addition to that, that's it.
Okay, incredible.
I don't really have like a lot to plug. I don't know.
All right, so that's where you can find us. Obviously, you can also find me at Talking Shit. So ratings and reviews also very much always appreciated. And I think that's all we have. So until next week, here endeth the lesson.
Just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.